And here's the starting grid for you. Russell Ingall, his first meeting in a NASCAR, and he's going to be campaigning the Chev Monte Carlo for the entire NASCAR season. He's on pole. Pt1 on the outside of him, front row. Matthew White and Terry Wyhoon sharing the second row of the grid. I should also mention this is a rolling start, this NASCAR event over 16 laps. Brewer and Lance on the third row. Row 4 occupied by Ken James and Albernica, also in the Chevy Monte Carlo. The fifth row, Graham Smith and Rodney Jane. Terry Byers and Bob Middleton sharing the sixth row. And finally, on row 7, rounding out a 13-car field, is Kim Jane in the Chev Monte Carlo. They certainly sound fantastic. 700 horsepower. Real thunder at the mountain this weekend. The inaugural NASCAR 100-kilometre event, 16 laps. And there will be a compulsory pit stop in this event. And as a result, we have Pat Welsh down there. G'day, Pat.
Happy, how are you? Are you enjoying it up there in the comfort of the commentary box? Because it is going to be very, very noisy down here. I'm pleased I've got these on this afternoon.
Most certainly, and a little warm down there as well, so look after yourself.
Oh, conditions absolutely ideal, just a slight breeze. The crowd has built up quite nicely around here, and I think they're going to discover very quickly, if they haven't been here for any of the practice sessions, that they are going to need some sort of ear protection. But as Brad and the boys were saying, it's going to be a lot of fun just seeing how long these cars will go and how far their brakes will survive this afternoon. But I'll be down here to keep an eye on all the action for you.
Thank you, Pat. Let's now take a look at some of the qualifying in NASCAR yesterday.
Here's a fellow that didn't make turn 1, the left-hander up Mountain Straight. He elected to go straight ahead. Not the only one, I might add, but this one was even more difficult down in Forest Elbow. Beautifully saved, yep. You might say.
And there's Rodney Jane. Looks like he's got a little bit of a fire going there.
A little bit of a flame up, but he restarted it, and they towed him out.
Here's Matthew White again, just coming down through the chase. Long, hard break down there. Beautifully presented car. A little bit of fuel wisping out the back of it there.
That's Pt1 was in car 24. He's done it all getting sideways there. He's done an outstanding job this weekend to qualify second fastest.
He has done a really good job.
Knows very little about Mount Panorama. And that is Russell Ingall in car 34, the man that will start this race on pole. Rolling start as they now cruise down the hill.
Yeah, American-style rolling start, not a bad idea. Something we've never, ever incorporated in our motorsport in Australia, but very big time in America, where this class originated. Fantastically popular in America, David. The crowds that go to this type of racing in southern states.
And the great thing about a rolling start is it really takes a lot of the load off the drivetrain and such, so you don't have to worry about the bad start so much. They all bunch up nicely here, and you get a nice clear run. These things have so much horsepower that when you step on the gas in first or second gear like they'll be doing, you can still break into a bit of wheel spin. So awesome car to drive.
All right, the start is now imminent for the inaugural NASCAR 100. With Russell Ingall, your pole sitter, away they go. Pt1 began very quickly on the outside. The former Australian Speedway Sprint Car champion, side by side through turn number 1. And gee, Wantless is matching it now. Pole sitter Russell Ingall as they head up Mountain Straight the first time, and this is going to be hairy.
It will be.
Ingall held his line there. He wasn't about to let Wantless get the slightest gap on him, but anything can happen now if Todd stays on the inside. Now, there he goes. Russell, too smart for that. He got clearly in front. He wouldn't want a car alongside him for this first right-hander, Brad.
Hey, that's true, and what we've got is Russell just got the slightest of buffers here at the moment, but one to look for at the back that we see in the middle of the pack now is Kim Jane, the current NASCAR champion, who had a bit of bad luck yesterday, a few troubles with the gearbox, started off the back of the field and already picked his way through to the middle of this pack.
Yeah, on the day before yesterday, he was actually matching times with Russell Ingall, and it was a pity that he didn't qualify in a position that was more in keeping with his actual lap times. But let's see him fight through here. As you've mentioned, he should come into picture just about now. Yes, at the back there.
The other interesting thing about these cars is they really didn't have much of a warm-up lap, which is exactly what. There we have...
Pt1, listen, the ABC Spares parts entry gone.
He might have been getting a bit excited about his being competitive with Russell Ingall. He knew Ingall was the one to match. He was close to him in qualifying on a 224, but certainly put paid to his chances there. You've got to stay with it on the opening lap, Brad.
Oh, exactly right. And you notice as that car was spinning, there's a yellow stripe across the rear bumper bar, which designates Todd Wantless as a rookie, and you need to carry that for a year. So when they come up behind you, they know what they're dealing with. And fortunately for Tom,
well, It's always a pity to lose a chance to get 16 laps, but he's going to have to park it today. He's recovered all right, thank God for the sand pit. Never used to be there for many, many years. I don't know what a lot of us did getting through there when something like that happened, but that is a hairy corner, and Todd Wanless out of the race, unfortunately. His dad won't be pleased with that performance.
No, he certainly won't. Terry Wyhoon was very close to him, our second place gear at the moment, and I looked at the back of Todd's car when he stopped, and it didn't look like there was a touch, but he certainly went from the inside of the track to the outside very quickly. But anyway, here we have Russell Ingall. Oh, Ken James there. A little bit of moment coming out of the chase.
So Russell Ingall, our race leader, blasts across the start-finish line to complete the first of 16 laps as a result of the unfortunate demise of Todd Wanless. Wyhoon in the BP car care entry moves up one spot. He just went through. Driver of the Pennzoil car is Marshall Brewer, another one of the many Victorians contesting this event.
Marshall's one of the guys that have been in this sport right from the start. Marshall's been in NASCAR for a number of years, and last year he's dabbled in NASCAR a little bit, but last year he took the step to get a full-time NASCAR, and he's doing a very, very good job. The car's beautifully presented, and he's working away at it very hard. These aren't an easy thing to do, and a lot of these drivers are used to the ovals. We've got Kim Jane behind him now looking for a pass.
Yes, I think Kim, based on his lap time of a 2:20 on Thursday, will certainly have a chance of fighting his way through as long as he's careful passing traffic. He seemed to come to grips with the circuit quite efficiently because he was the only one to match or come very close within a second of Russell Ingall.
And he's doing it very sensibly here. He isn't having a big lunge at him in places where it's a marginal call to get by. He's biding his time and picking them off one at a time. He's in no rush to get to Russell. Well, I mean, as much as you would like to be. He's just being really, really sensible, which is great for Kim. He's showing newfound maturity the last couple of years in NASCAR racing, and with John Sidney's help, this is the result of it.
So a good
He's
battle.
only 31, mate. He's got a, he's got a way to, I like that term, newfound maturity. That's very good, Brad.
Well, Kim and I have locked horns a little bit with our wives.
Oh, I never knew that. I never knew that.
You meant self-preservation. He's learned the art of self-preservation.
So here we are on Conrad. He'll slip in here behind Marshall Brewer. He'll be looking. He hasn't even had to slip in. He's pulled out already. As Brad has said, he wasn't taking any chances across the top of the mountain.
Wow.
Now he's just fading left to make sure that Brewer doesn't get any advantage from him. But 700 horsepower coming down this main straight, nothing to be too shabby. Those fellows will be looking at these chicane corners. So Kim Jane coming down to Murray's corner. Good old Murray's corner.
The top speed of these 1,500 kilo NASCARs, 290 kilometers an hour down Conrod Straight. There's Russell Ingall, your race leader, who has extended his lead quite significantly. He led by 2.2 seconds at the end of lap 1. Now it's out to 3.9 seconds.
Maximum capacity in this class is 358 cubic inches, which translates to 5.9 liters, and Russell Ingall's 6 liters sounds awfully nice off a single 4-barrel. This is an American tradition. We've lost one in turn 1. The yellow flags are up. We'll pick that up shortly, but just back to Russell Ingall. His engine is sounding particularly strong. Did a lot of laps in qualifying. I know he's got the car going the way he wants. Rodney Jane causing a traffic jam on turn 1. Just the exit from pit straight.
You see all the sand he's dropped on the circuit there as he's backing back out of the sand pit. Oh, it's not too bad. There's just a little bit there, so I doubt that will cause them much problems next time around. But they don't have a great lock on these, Alan. They need to back and go forward a little bit to get around. Russell Ingall, our leader again. Russell's working the car very nicely.
We're taking a look at the top 5 race score. Right about now, Russell Ingall, the clear-cut leader at this stage of proceedings. Terry Wyhoon runs second on the racetrack, ahead of Matthew White, Kim Jane, Marshall Brewer, rounding out the top 5 after 2 laps. Where Russell Ingall continues to lead this one in fairly comprehensive fashion. Now leads by 5.5 seconds to his nearest challenger. That man currently on screen, Kim Jane.
Oh, Kim Jane's done a very, very good job, which is more than car 3. Rodney Jane hasn't made it back to the pits after that spin on turn 1.
Actually, Alan, it looks like he's rolled back into the concrete wall there.
Yes.
He must have just started to crest the hill, and he's tried to park the thing out of the way there and landed up against the wall.
Obviously got transmission problems, can't get himself out of the way. That'll be up to the clerk, of course, to decide whether that car needs to be moved. But really a pity for Kim Jane to have to have worked so hard from the back of the field on his attack against Russell Ingall. He really was the only driver to be within cooey of Ingall's pole time, and had he started second on the grid, it might have been a different race here this morning. I don't think Russell Ingall would have been shedding a tear over the fact that Kim had qualifying problems, didn't get the car qualified at all by his own standard, but doing very nicely now. Terry Waihoon on screen, number 25 from South Gippsland in Victoria, a good stalwart of the class. He first ran Thunderdome in '89. He knows these cars very intimately and doing a good job. Put a lot of laps in practice. I think he got his eye in as well as anybody in the field, but sitting in third spot at the moment as he goes up under the snap-on bridge.
Kim Jane, gentlemen, is making some progress. He's been able to lead, or rather eat into Ingall's lead by some half a second. Ingall, mind you, still leading by 5 seconds, but Kim Jane is giving it a really big go. The Ford Thunderbird, the BP entry of Terry Waihoon, charges across the top of the mountain. Getting very loose there.
Having a go. And I'm a little surprised they haven't brought the pace car out to move that car, Rodney James.
It's in a hairy spot. You must admit, you want to really you want to place your car where he is at the moment.
Exactly, and I mean, things might change as the race ticks by a little bit, but I would have thought that's a good opportunity to get that car out of the way.
This is the first round of the Australian NASCAR Championship for the season of 98-99. These cars obviously contest the majority of their season on the high-banked Calder Park Thunderdome in Victoria. It is quite a spectacle, I can assure you. Nice camera work as Kim Jane prepares to run down the mountain.
I don't know about you, Brad, but I think Kim is trying to let a few people know that he can really drive this car and he can drive this circuit. As we both know, this is no chicken run around here. These cars aren't admirably suited to this type of racing. They are designed for the super speedways with the high banks, and as such, I think Kim's doing a superb job here.
Oh, I think he is. He certainly got the car by the scruff of the neck. We raced our cars up here in '96. We did a little demonstration run when I was still competing in the class, and I can tell you, coming into the chase where he is now, that's a long break. You certainly can't go through that corner flat like you can in the super touring cars. You're touching 300 Ks coming into there, so Kim's got it by the scruff of the neck. We saw him get a bit sideways out of the cutting, which indicates to us he's having a real go at this. Oh, he's run a little wide there.
Wide there. He didn't judge that well. That's probably a little brake fade, do you think?
I think probably a little brake fade, and also the tyres, Alan, they've got to be starting to feel the pressure a little bit now with all that horsepower running through them. They're heading on to 5-6 laps, so everything could be starting to get a little hot and bothered by now.
More sidewall action on those good years than they've seen normally at Calder, you think?
Well, I dare say.
Race control, by the way, have notified us there will be no pace car. Because of that reason, Rodney James stranded in a precarious position, as Alan Moffat and Bradley Jones alluded to, but race control confirming they don't deem it necessary to utilise the pace car at this stage of proceedings. And talking about the Goodyear tyres that these NASCARs are running as a part of their compulsory pit stop, somewhere between laps 10 and 12 in this event, as a mandatory measure, they're all going to be forced to change their rear tyres on front and rather their right-hand side tyres on rear and front. And this is now on board with Russell Ingall, our race leader.
He's coming through McPhillamy, just touching the curb on the left-hand side. Got left-hand drive, so he can see that curb quite well, but now it starts to get a bit exciting. Brad, this view's not really for the faint-hearted. Just clipping the wall here, and now we're going to lunge into the Firestone Dipper. He's taking it easy on the car there from what we can hear through our headphones.
There has been a spin on the top of the mountain. Here's another look at it.
Oh, this one's nasty.
Dear me, Ken James.
Yep. He's got wide there, and that might have actually been unsettling for him to pass Rodney Jane's car. He has gone wide through that corner, Brad, and hit the wall. He had no room to go.
And giving it a decent clout. The thing about the Rodney Jane car is, even though it looks like it's well over to the inside. It takes away part of your vision as you turn into that corner there, and
just
because you're
upsetting.
almost flat. Yeah, it just puts you off a little bit.
So back on to Russell Ingall, who certainly knows how to win around this circuit. Co-driving with Larry Perkins, some superb wins here. Oh, Kim James is perhaps getting a little stretched here in his ambitions to catch Russell.
Yes, was able to rectify it and get back on track, which was fortuitous for him. Ingall reels off yet another lap. That's the completion of lap 6 for him.
Russell knows he's got the Moz on the circuit. He's got a good car. He had plenty of practice laps yesterday. He was fastest in practice. Now it's up to him just to pick the degree of conservatism that he can lay into this. Just try and save the car a little bit, because we certainly have Kim James, a fair gap back at this stage, followed by Terry Waihoon, and Matthew White.
In fact, Alan, that little off-track we saw with Kim James a moment ago has cost him dearly. He's now 9.1 seconds behind our leader, Russell Ingall. Then a gap of a further 5.9 seconds between second and third, Kim James and Terry Waihoon. So they are starting to spread out in no uncertain terms. This looks to be Neville Lance charging up Mountain Straight, the West Australian. One of the many drivers in NASCAR that combines this sort of racing with short-track quarter-mile speedway. In fact, he's a fairly efficient midget or street car driver. And Todd Wanless, who we saw spin after half a lap, he's about to jump in his road car and head down and drive a sprint car tonight at Parramatta Speedway. So they're busy boys.
They certainly, the speedway side of this sport certainly keep themselves busy. Max Dumsney never ceases to surprise me when we were racing with the NASCARs, and he'd be off here there one night and then back to race the car during the day of practice, and they run a very hectic schedule, and they do a great job. Kim would be a bit disappointed at this point in time. You still see that car moving around. He's done the fastest lap of the race, but he was so sensible getting through the traffic, and now he's just driving it that little bit too hard. I think if John Sydney's watching this on TV, he'll be on the radio saying, "Hey, Kim, you know, just calm it all down and let's just see what unfolds here," because at the moment he's taking a couple of unnecessary risks, I think, with the car.
He may risk coming second, whereas Russell is not likely to make a mistake at this stage.
No,
but
that's
not beyond some other mechanical problem.
Okay, at this juncture, let's take a look at the top 5 race score. Russell Ingall doing it comfortably out in front. Kim James in second place, 9 seconds behind. Then back to Terry Waihoon in the BP entry. He runs third in the Ford Thunderbird in the Chevy Monte Carlo of Matthew White. And Marshall Brewer, also in a Monte Carlo, running 5th on the racetrack as we take a break from Mount Panorama. Stay with us.